Hi, I'm Karin McCracken.
I'm Eleanor Bishop.
We are the co-creators of Yes, 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 and
welcome to Backstage Pass.
2017, we first started working together, eh?
I just got back from America, wanted to do my show Jane Doe in New Zealand, and I was looking for a performer that could perform, talk to the audience, cared about sexual violence.
Yeah, and then we just didn't stop, we just kept working together, eh?
Yeah, and now we have an office. We're like very legit and official.
We took the show Jane Doe to Edinburgh. Lynn Gardner from The Guardian came and reviewed it and said that it should be rolled out in classrooms across the globe. And that was feedback we were getting a lot, was that young people needed some content around sexual violence and sexual violence prevention. So we wanted to do that. We wanted to have a show for young people, but we knew that Jane Doe maybe wasn't quite right for young people, and so we set out to make something entirely new for that age group. So Auckland Live commissioned us to make a new show. We worked with young people and we made Yes, Yes, Yes. We worked with a smaller number of those students towards these video interviews that are in the show.
Yes, I've had a crush before.
Yeah, I've had quite a few crushes.
When I was younger, my heart used to do this little weird beating thing. Now it doesn't. I'm just like, damn.
It's made with young people, for young people. Some of them will be part of it if they come up on stage to read, and then they get to text in their thoughts. So it's very interactive and very positive,
yes,
which is the key difference from Jane Doe. We really wanted to make something that was celebrating all the fun, awkward, healthy stuff that goes on when you're a teenager.
I have like a memory of being in high school and seeing theater for my age group that like just stunk of being told what to do, and like young people can sniff that out when it's happening, and it's like patronizing and boring.
And not interesting theatre. Things that are didactic and telling you what to think are just not interesting theatre either.
Yeah. I think the young people that I have encountered through the show are far more self-aware and truly wise than I remember being at that age. A sense of the world and what is not right in the world and what they would like to be, like an aspirational sense of how they would like the world to be, that I find really inspiring, and a real optimism and a hopefulness for themselves and for what the world can be. I'll never stop learning from that. I think it's a wonderful thing.
We co-wrote the show together, really test the writing on the floor, and then we would go into the schools that we were working with and go no, or yeah, cool.
Like the first draft of those messengers was between teachers and students. I don't really know what Kool-Aid we were drinking when we thought that was a good idea, but we brought that back in, and when we had feedback, and then it shifts, and then we did it again and it shifts, and then we landed on this thing where it was friends after a party talking to each other on Messenger.
We're like, more slang, they're like, less slang.
Yeah.
You play yourself or a version of yourself in the show, and what was the decision to kind of put yourself in?
That is just the most honest thing that we felt like we could offer. We're asking them to go on this journey with us and listen and be part of this experience, and some of them to volunteer. So we have to offer something of ourselves, I think, in return for that contract to be fair. I didn't have like an older sister or like an older sort of person in my life that could just kind of tell me about what it might be like in your 20s when you like date somebody. Like what might that be like? The only way you're getting that information is like from popular culture, which is just so fictionalized.
Yeah.
This is a story of a night I went out and met someone and how we like figured each other out. Like, I want to know that. I wanted to know that as a young person.
And it's a different relationship from like parents talking about like the birds and the bees or whatever.
Totally, yeah. Parents do a great job, but it's, you know, there has to be more. They don't want to do that either. I mean, they do, but more voices. I think theatre is really useful in this context because we're dealing with bodies. We're dealing with bodies together in space. If you're talking about consent, obviously there's, digital consent and, all of that sort of cyber world as well. Cyber world? Oh no. But, for the main, we're talking about bodies together, and that's what theatre is that we're all in our bodies here in this space together. Karen's a live person on stage, so that feels really potent and useful for the conversation we're trying to have. We say that we make socially minded contemporary performance. And so that covers a range of things. We obviously do work in larger spaces for a more general public audience that is arty.
Oh my God.
and then the other part of that is this more social practice based work that is embedded in a community or a specific group, but it is still trying to bring all of that contemporary performance, formal innovation to that social practice work.
Awesome.
Arty?
That was
Arty.
amazing.
What is happening today?
I love it.
Cyber?
So in the cyber world is on.